I will make the darkness bright. I will bear my lights to them. Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart.
So, welcome to this month's Families at 4 and welcome to the Vicarage garden. There's been a lot of work going on here. You can hear the noise of the traffic on Sandpit Lane has got worse, but there's been a lot of work going on during lockdown, mainly done by Linda, I have to say, but I thought I'd show you some of it. Let's see if I can turn the camera around. Can I do that? Oh, I don't know. Perhaps not, I'll have to show you anyway. So, here's clematis that I planted last year that's flowering beautifully. It's got a few more buds there. I need to chop it down because it's growing up into the beech there. That's doing well. That was from last year, but actually I planted some of my favourite flowers actually, which are called foxgloves. There's one here, a big one at the back, which was a seed that planted itself. I didn't plant that one, and that's been doing wonderfully, so I thought I'll plant two more next to it. And here they are, and they're not looking so great. This one hasn't done too bad, but this one, they both seem to be in rather stony soil and a bit too close to the fence. And of course the other side of the fence is the hedge, which is full of roots. So maybe I should have cleared out some space and given them a better place to be. We've also created a pond. The Vicarage never had a pond before. It's now got a pond. And hopefully with any luck, sometime this month we might see some frogs because we transplanted about 10 tadpoles. This corner's growing well. We planted all these things last year. Linda's done a lot of work here. Let's see if I can get a good view of it for you. So this was all ivy before we moved in, and is now a lot nicer. But the real work, the real exciting stuff is out the back in what we now call the kitchen garden, which again, when we moved in, was nothing. We've now got some, I think I'm right in saying these are butternut squash, which Linda grew from seed. Here we've got sweet peas. This is last year's gooseberry bush. Nothing's been found under it yet, thankfully. I think those are raspberries or blackcurrants. We've got tomatoes growing there. We've got other veg in these raised beds, here and here. And we've got potatoes have gone in over there, I should have said. But here, this is our pride and joy now. This is the grow house. And this is where we put things in to seed, from seed, so that they grow nice and strong before we put them out. Linda planted the plants. I built the grow house with a little bit of help. So the garden's been doing really well. But some things grow well, some things don't. And it all depends where you plant them and how you look after them. And that's going to be coming up a lot in Families at 4 this week. So stay tuned, and hopefully you'll send us some pictures of the work that you're doing. But it's lovely to see you all again.
Right. Jesus often spoke in parables. A parable is a story, but it's not a true story, but it's something that Jesus made up to tell a story. But everything that happens is a story. And this one is about a farmer sowing seeds. The parable of the sower. So one day there was a farmer, and he had lots of land, and he wanted to grow some vegetables. So he decided that one day he had to get up very early when the alarm went off, and he had to have his breakfast. On this particular day he had egg and a nice cuppa, and he had a bread roll. So there, that was nice. Then he decided he'd better go and do some sowing. So what he did was, he went out into his big garden and he just started putting the seeds anywhere and everywhere. That's not really a very good thing to do, is it? Not really. You need to put them into proper earth that's all been nice. And sometimes he just dropped them down. And that's not going to be any good because they won't get any roots. But do you know what did happen? That sometimes the birds came along and the birds started to eat those seeds, but they haven't got any roots, so they won't grow and they're not going to be any good. Anyway, he started walking around again, and there he was, putting all his seeds just anywhere and everywhere, not having much luck. Sometimes a very small little plant did grow with a tiny, tiny flower on it, but it has no roots, so that's not going to grow into something at all. In the garden there were also lots of ladybirds, and curled up in a little corner was a little tiny hedgehog. So, after quite a long time, the farmer walked on again, and this time,
Annie, wait. Don't interrupt.
this time he came to a piece of land that he had worked on. There. Look, he's used all his tools, so he's made it all nice. A scoop like that one, and this one, and he thought, that might be a good idea. I think I'm going to put some seeds into here. And he had another one too. So what he did was, he got some more of his seeds and he planted them in, and into this one. So. And then he rakes them over just a little tiny bit. And then do you know what else he has to do to make them grow? What do they need to grow? They need some water. So he gave them some water.
Please go back there. I'm taking a video. Go back.
So lots of water. And then you have to wait quite a long time for these vegetables to grow. But once they take root, these are roots, and they can grow right into the ground. And then after quite a long time again, they'll grow some vegetables. And eventually they will turn into lots of vegetables that you will know. So there are potatoes.
Come closer. Can you come closer? Ben, Adash, can you come closer, please?
A swede. You want to hold that one? Do you want to hold the potato? No? Okay.
Are you allowed?
Sweet corn.
What are you allowed to eat?
Carrot.
When you're allowed to eat?
They're not cooked. They're not tomatoes. What are they?
Mushrooms.
Mushrooms. Well done. What else?
Onion.
Onion. And look, there is the root system. That onion has a hairy bottom. Doesn't it?
My bag is so hairy.
That's right. And then whoop. And also, some things are not just vegetables, some things are fruit. And there might be these growing. Tomatoes. Do you like tomatoes?
Yeah, I love them.
Wow.
Can you hold that for me? Can you eat them?
No. So then, that's a very good thing to do, to grow your own. And then you might turn into a superhero. So you might be a broccoli, a beetroot, a carrot, potatoes, tomato.
Hello and welcome again to another very different Families at Four. Hope you're keeping well and that you've enjoyed the story, the parable of the sower this afternoon. It's made me think a lot about how things grow and how our gardens at the moment are full of things that are sprouting and blossoming and changing with the spring sunshine and rain. If you're lucky enough to have a garden, you may have spent more time in it lately, or on your walks outside, just noticing things that perhaps we don't always notice, and see how things are changing with the season. I decided to use some bits from my garden to make some scenery for the story that we have just been told. I used this old baking tray and some soil and some bits that I picked, and I divided into 4 sections. We've got a rickety path here in the shallow soil where these little seeds just couldn't grow. Then we have the rocky, stony ground where nothing could survive. Next we have some thorny, prickly things that didn't do very well either. And finally we have the lovely, lush garden soil with all its greenery and flowers. I did pick these things very carefully, and I didn't need to pick very much. I especially enjoyed doing this section where everything grew, and it led me to another idea that I thought you could try at home. I used a paper plate to make a garden on a plate. I have a fence down the middle. I have some soil all around. This half is the leafy green half, and then you could walk around here to a little stepping stone footpath up to a garden pond, a little bit of water, a grassy area, and a little bit of mossy hedge beside a shady bench. You might like to make something like this of your own and be as creative as you can. I've got some pictures to show you of some other ideas. One even has a Lego house, so it might give you some inspiration to try some things of your own. When you are picking things, please don't pick anything too precious or in full bloom. If you look carefully, you can often find things that have just finished blooming and little bits that have fallen off. You won't need much to create the scene. Also, it's important to remember that this won't actually grow because they don't have any roots. You might want to put a little bit of water on the soil to make it last a few days, but it won't stay alive for long. If we were having families at 4 as usual, I think we would have been giving you some real seeds to take away and grow at home and try to see if you could make them flourish. If you have any cress seeds, you might like to try making an egghead, as I show you a picture of, watching their hair grow as fast as ours has in lockdown. If you have any grass seed and maybe a pair of old tights, you could try a similar idea with growing a grass head, like the picture I'm showing you. If you don't have any seeds, it is possible to even grow some of the seeds from our daily fruit and vegetables. You could take the pips from inside an apple, maybe an avocado stone, or even the tiny pips on the outside of a strawberry. And if you use a piece of kitchen roll that's nice and damp, place the pips on the kitchen roll and keep it moist for a few days. You might be surprised at what you could see sprouting. It's even possible, with a bit of patience, to cut the top off a carrot to keep it moist for a few days and see if it starts to sprout. It won't grow you a new carrot, but it might grow you something leafy and green, a plant to enjoy. So have fun with your gardening. Keep getting fresh air, exercise, keep safe and well. keep washing your hands and have lots of fun. Bye.
By the Lord of wind and flame, I will tend the poor and lame. I will set a feast for them. My hand will save. Finest bread I will provide, till their hearts be satisfied. I will give my life to them. Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. It is I, Lord. I have heard you calling in the dark. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your finger in my heart.
These are grass seeds, and I've got these grass seeds because I've been doing a little bit of sowing myself, just like the man in the story that we heard today. I wonder if you could imagine being a seed in that story. I wonder where you would want to be. Would you want to be in between the rocks, like behind me here? Or would you want to be in between the thorns and the weeds, which there's also some of those around over there? Or would you want to be in the good soil, like this stuff here? The good soil is where you are well cared for, where from the tiny seed like this, you can grow into something that you are meant to be. Perhaps you're meant to be grass, or perhaps a cauliflower or a potato, or even a beautiful flower. I think what the story tells us is that when we're friends with God, you're a bit like a seed that is in good soil. And God's a bit like a gardener who cares for you and who makes sure that you get what you need to grow, so that you can become what God has created you to be. Obviously, you're not going to be some grass or a potato or a cauliflower, but you're definitely going to be something beautiful, because after all, you are God's creation. And God, as a gardener, knows exactly how you need to grow. Now, if you want to be like that, if you want to be in the good soil, and you want to become from a tiny seed into what God has made you to be, then all you need to do is just ask God. And it can be really simple. And you just say to God, God, will you be my friend? And can I grow up in your good soil?
I'm going to show you how to make a picture now using things like seeds or pips, things that you might have at home. And we're going to make it on this card here. I'm going to start off just by drawing a very simple flower shape. And then one section at a time, I'm going to cover it with things like seeds. Please do ask what you're allowed to use and not allowed to use from the kitchen. So I'm just going to cover the leaves with some rice. I wouldn't normally recommend using food, but actually this rice is out of date. I found it in the kitchen cupboard, so that's okay. I've put newspaper onto the card because now I'm going to shake this off so that you can see the shape of the leaves. I think I'll do the centre of the flower next. So again, filling up the centre, and I'm going to pop a few peppercorns on here. Now finally the petals. I'm just using some nutmeg here. And then to make the shape of the petals nice and clear, it's a good idea to go around the outside with a Sharpie or a black felt tip. And there's our flower.
Actually, I got it wrong. They're not sweet peas, they're mange tout.
Yeah.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come.
Your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread.
Our sins, as we forgive those who sin against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. So, well done.
We've done it!
For yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever.